Hey everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Leeds with me, GWFM. I'm joined today by the one and only Mattinho Got Game. Say hello, mate.
Oh, guys.
Nice one. We've no Mike today, unfortunately. A bit of illness and other reasons. We've tried putting it back a few times, but anyway, we'll have to make do with just me and Matt. For this week, hopefully, it will still go down quite well. Basically, we're going to be talking today about the recent games against Millwall and Preston, and it's a bit of a mixed bag, I think. I mean, in terms of the predictions, I believe Matt won. He predicted 2-1. I predicted 1-0. Mike predicted 2-0. So I've decided, because as mentioned before, I'm a good guy. I'm letting Matt have the result because of the fact that he said that Millwall would score, which obviously it finished 1-1. It was a bit of a frustrating game, in my opinion. I think it's a good point. I think if you'd... I'm not obviously we want to win every single game, but realistically, going to Millwall away from home, it's always tough. And I think if you'd said, "Oh, we'll get a point away from home at Millwall," you'd have probably snapped their hand off. Whoever said it to you, of course. For me, couple of frustrating points. Alioski. I usually leave it to Mike to do the Alioski bashing, but this particular game, it was just so frustrating, getting offside over and over and over again, and then just rounded up really by the fact of that cross that he did. I don't know if you saw it, Matt, but basically it was wide left. He got to a good position to whip it in, and he must have just sliced it or something because it went like into row Z directly behind the goal. I don't think it was a shot for it that way, but it just summed up his performance in my opinion. Yeah, in terms of my man of the match, I can't say there was a top three really. There was only one outlet for me. It seemed to be quite apparent in the game, and it was Samu Saiz. He was the only one who was looking to try and get something happen. He didn't do it amazingly all the way through the game, but if anything did, chance-wise, did happen, it came largely through him. Just like basically with the goal at the end, Forshaw passed it to him. He chipped it forward. Yes, it was cleared away, but it just summed it up that he was involved. And obviously Harrison scored his first goal for the club, and what a goal it was! It was a good goal. I think it got voted goal of the week as well. So very pleased for him. What about yourself, Matt? What did you think to the actual game itself?
I think, like you said, if they offered us that result beforehand, we would have definitely taken it. Purely because it's funny that game came at that exact moment, like straight after the international break, because that's where the wheels sort of fell off last season. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair result, and I think it was a good game to have because, like I said, it's where the wheels sort of fell off last season. We were taken apart, and to go 1-0 down in what is a very difficult place to play and to come back, I think it just shows just how different it is at Allen Road. Because the teams, there was a couple of new players there that weren't there last season, but for the whole, the nucleus of the team is pretty much the same as it was last season. So to go into the Den, go a goal down, and then come back
and get a result.
I think it shows that we've got a lot more character this time around. And we would have liked to have got the win, but I think realistically, I think a draw was possibly a fair result.
I think so. Yeah,
a little bit. We maybe had more of the possession, but they had a few decent chances, and I mean, like I said, if going into that game, somebody offered you a point, considering what happened last season, I think we would have taken it.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget as well, after we scored, they hit the post, didn't they? There was quite a little bit of a kerfuffle, whatever that word is to describe, basically. Something, kerfuffle at the end involving Neil Harris and Bielsa to do with Samu Saiz. As his reaction to a score, he'd run over to their bench and started pointing a finger and calling them wankers, basically. But
they are.
Well, they are, yeah, to be fair. But I think you're right. I think 1-1 were a fair result. I don't think you can argue with it. I mean, they were saying that a lot of people were saying, including Stephen Warnock, were saying that they deserved to win. But I think on the balance of play, I think you've got to look at the entire game. Yeah, they had a couple of chances. They had that big unit up in defence who flicked on for their goal, didn't he? 6'7", I think he is. But largely they didn't. I think they had many clear-cut opportunities. It was against set pieces, wasn't it? That seemed to cause us problems. As it's been highlighted, I think that's clearly been our weakness. Obviously, it helps having Janssen in there. It's not as frequent. But yeah, overall, like you say, I think you've got to be pleased with that result. But moving on to the more recent and fantastic performance against Preston. What did you think, Matt?
Brilliant. Again, it was a game a few of us were sort of looking at and wondering, considering we lost to them in the Caribou Cup or whatever they're bloody calling it now.
Against 10 men as well.
Yeah, but I mean the other question marks were, even though we got the results against Millwall, how would we cope again without Roof, without Hernandez, without Bamford and so on. But going forward, we looked fantastic. You mentioned it before we started that Preston, they had a decent 5-10 minute spell at the start of it, and Bailey Peacock-Farrell made a really good save. But after that point, we didn't really look in danger. When we got that second goal, it was pretty much that was almost game to set a match pretty much, and then we could just go on and get the result. But again, we just looked very good going forward, relatively solid at the back, and the big one for me was Tyler Roberts getting on the score sheet twice, and his first goal was brilliant. It really was brilliant. I thought he messed it
go
up.
back to Premier League days, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you can finish.
I think I was a little bit worried when he took that first touch. I thought, oh no, what have he done that for? But then he just looped it over him, and it was really good. And his headed goal was very good as well. It was a good cross from Harrison to pick him out. But yeah, I think that might have settled the nerves a little bit for some of the fan base, considering we haven't got Roof, and he's been absolutely immense. We haven't got Bamford now, and we're thinking a little
where
bit
the goal's coming from.
But Tyler Roberts stepped up and he got his rewards.
Yeah, he did indeed. Just for the record, Matt, it would actually click that putting the cross for his header. But
that's what happens when you watch it on the red button on the scope. This was no replay, and I just kind of
I got that. Yeah,
you played the pass because you're already thinking about that. You're all, the goal's going, yeah. Then you're like,
well, there were 2 offside goals, weren't there? And we didn't have a clue whether they were or not. I've still not seen it to this day, the offsides. I've no idea if they were. Because obviously we scored it first half, and then because Alioski were through. But the initial pass, when it panned to him, I thought, well, that's going to be tight as that. And you never know. And then they obviously scored. Again, I thought, because that was the only time really that troubled us besides the early stages, with right back with the darty run forward. And people might, I mean, I haven't seen any bashing of Alioski for this, but Alioski did look like he gave up, but he couldn't really put a challenge in because it'd have been second yellow card at that point. Yeah, it was yellow carded early on. Well, I think early on, was it in second half or back end at first half? I can't remember, but anyway. Alioski actually had a good performance in this game, to be honest with you. I've still seen he's got quite a bit of flack in the Facebook groups or whatever, but not from everyone, just like a handful of people. But I don't think he's done that bad in that game. In fact, the whole team performed magnificently. And I actually forgot to ask you your man of the match for Millwall as well as this game. We'll do this one first. For me, I'll give my man of the match for this one. I think you've got to give it Tyler Roberts. He had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and I thought he coped with it all quite well. And because he got a bit of a bashing after the Millwall game. Let's be honest. People saying he's not good enough. It's going to be like Grow Up Mark 2, and it's a completely different kind of player. And I'm just so pleased that he scored the goals. And like I said, the first goal was class. That little dinko at top at keeper. It was like a season pro with that. Mm-hmm. But that's who I'm going to go for. I can't pick a bad performance, to be honest with you. What about yourself, Matt?
None springs to mind in terms of bad performances. In terms of the man of the match, I think you'd probably be hard pressed to take it away from him, but you could possibly say Saiz again. He's the heartbeat of that team our team going forward. So, if it wasn't Roberts, then I'd definitely give it to Saiz. But I think the goals and the way he took them, I think you got to give it to Tyler Roberts.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Just quickly, anyone from Millwall?
Again, it was a tough one because I don't know about the guys watching this video, but I couldn't find any decent streams for that one.
Yeah, I only watched it from 35 minutes onwards because I couldn't find out neither.
Yeah. I'd probably be just inclined because of the way he took his goal, took it on his chest through a crowded box. I'd probably give it to Harrison, getting his first
Yeah,
goal there. But I can't really comment with any real conviction as to who the best player as a whole was because, like I said, I didn't really
yeah.
get to see much of the game.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. Just one final thing, just to mention about our current situation in terms of where we are in the league and what have you. There's been a stat come out. I think LUFC stats, he retweeted it. It's the reason why I saw it. But yeah, it's actually 6 years since we won 3 games by 3 or more goals in one season. And we've actually done that already this season. We had the 3-0. We had the 4-1 against Derby, the 3-0 against Norwich, and now 3-0 against Preston. I mean, what's going on? I must admit, it's been quite a few seasons, and you're like going, we never smash anyone, do we? I mean, obviously we beat Burton last season 5-0, but I don't think we had another result much like that, if I remember at all. It was like odd, like maybe 2-0s or 2-1s or something like that, but obviously a lot of defeats. But yeah, it's just nice to actually go into games basically as overwhelming favourites, I suppose, because there's been a lot of games in the past where you're like, this could be a tricky game, and we're going to these games like, for instance, we've got Birmingham coming up next. We'll get into predictions shortly, and we're expected to smash them. You know what I mean? It's just one of those sort of things. So the Preston game, we did some predictions, didn't we? And basically, what happened with you, Matt? You want to explain?
I was kind of busy watching the game, and the messages came in, and by the time I'd seen them, it had gone beyond half time, and it probably wouldn't have been fair for me to make a prediction. So, I mean, I can say I would have said 3-0 if I'd have got the prediction, but no. So that's why I didn't get a score in that one because I just completely didn't see the messages from G and Mike.
Yeah, I'll try and dig him out, get him sorted. But yeah, I went for 2-1. Which meant that Mike had to beat that, obviously get closer with the score, and he did. He actually said 4-0, surprisingly. I was a bit surprised he went that high, but he did, and he's the winner of that point for the 1 point. So as a result, the scoreboard looks like this. We've got myself and Mattinho on 4 points each, with Just Mike Plays catching us up somewhat with 2 points now. To say he had such a bad start, he's doing all right now. So yeah, hopefully we'll keep it competitive for all 3 of us. In terms of the other news, which we've kind of touched on it already, Matt, I was going to say the Bamford injury, obviously tied in with all the other injuries. Bamford got injured in under-23's game. Basically done something to his cruciate ligaments, I think. He's got some big, basically fuck off, like Robocop leg type thing.
Yeah.
But basically, I saw that there were an image of his leg on Twitter, and it looks uncomfortable as hell. But basically, yeah, what's your opinion on playing him in the under-23s?
I sort of get it because obviously Kiwa Roof's been absolutely superb. I don't know. I don't know if it was necessarily wise to play what would be the backup striker, considering we're kind of thin on the ground anyway. Even without the injuries, we were a little bit, we only had Bamford and Roof, and Tyler Roberts was someone with that Bielsa thought was a winger, like you mentioned it before.
Before recording, yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to say. There's definite cases for both sides of it. Say, yeah, well, keep him
fit,
sort of as match sharp as you possibly can and fit. But at the same time, you can understand why people say, well, he didn't really need to play. He's at the moment the backup striker. We're thin on the ground there, so it's hard to say. It's hard to just say you outright condemn it, but at the same time, maybe a little bit. You think well, I don't know. Does he really need to play? Is it really going to be helpful, especially for some of the under 23 lads, where there could be someone else playing in his place?
Yeah,
and getting up to what potentially the first team standard. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's just disappointing, really, that we've lost him for this long. Considering it's our biggest, it was our biggest signing in God knows how many years.
I think it's 2001. I think it was Robbie Fowler.
Yeah, Yeah, so disappointing, but I mean, so far we haven't shown any adverse signs that it's going to, massively affect us. That there's a big hole there that we're not now going to be able to fill. So just hopefully he comes back and he doesn't, and he can, get back into the groove relatively quickly.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Really, knowing what could happen. If everyone knew before, obviously it'd be a piece of piss, like. But with injuries and what have you. But it is what it is. You had to play, I think you had to keep playing him in the under-23s to keep him match sharp. Basically, that's the whole reason for it. That's what Bielsa said, I think. But it's one of those things you can sign a player to break the leg in the first game, to quote a Football Manager press conference. But but yeah, it's there's other injuries as well. We've had quite a few. Hernandez, Berardi, obviously not as long term. Roof as well as Shackleton. And it makes me laugh because I was listening at work. It was on at work, Talk Sport, and that guy, is it Ian Abraham or something like that? His nickname is Moose. He's a West Ham fan, so he knows a lot about football. But basically, he's been in journalism a long time, so he probably does, to be fair. But it was slating Bielsa and us, right? It was saying, what did he say now? He said, why, if Bielsa is that good, why have none of the big teams come in for him? And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you think about that. I mean, I don't. He's on about the top clubs, the top six. Look at Chelsea and Arsenal have got new managers. Why didn't they go in for him there? I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised, to be fair, that no one else came in for him. Aren't you?
A little bit, but I mean, he did say that he wasn't in a particular rush to get another job after what happened at was it Lille?
Lille, yeah.
Yeah. He was looking for the right project. So, I mean, honestly, I'm sort of the opinion that I don't really care. He's with us. He's our manager now, and I don't really care for the opinion of some jumped up West Ham fan, if I'm honest. So
there's one other thing I wanted to say. Just I'll let you continue shortly, but there's just one other thing as well that made you laugh. Go
on. So kind of lost my train of thought there, but yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little bit weird, but at the end of the day, do we really care? I don't. He's with us, and he's committed to the project, and he's shown that he can definitely get the best out of this group of players. So, not really much else to say.
Yeah, it's a fair comment, but the one thing I did want to say is, he said he didn't think we were that good. He thought Millwall should have won, apparently, right? And then he also said, what remains to be seen what Leeds will be like when a load of injuries hit them. Well, we just had fucking 5 injuries in like space of 2 weeks or whatever. Bloody hell! And then we went and got a result at Millwall, and then beat Preston, probably the most comfortable game you've seen this season. So I don't know. I don't know if they say stuff just to wind us up, a bit like Don Gunman. Let's do that for a laugh. But anyway, I suppose it's time we move on to the next game and the return of Gareth Monk. What do you think, Matt? What sort of receptions are you going to get?
Probably just violent hatred. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously we know what went on. He buggered off to Middlesbrough. It didn't work there. Went off to Birmingham. It's not exactly working there at the moment. I think I don't know whether it could maybe work in his favour a little bit. Just having all of that, people thinking, he's either not going to get anything and it'll be what everybody's expecting, or he might get a result of his team. But I think overall, I mean, in terms of a prediction for the game, if that's what we're kind of looking at, I'd say we're definitely going to win. That would be my prediction. We're definitely going to win. But I'd say it's going to be, I reckon we'll put 4 past them.
Really?
4-0, yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit more reserved in my prediction because they don't concede many. They've drawn quite a lot of games. I think they're the joint top draw scorers, I'm going to say, but draw specialists, basically, tied with Nottingham Forest, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course. But, yeah, it's... I think it could be tighter than 4-0, I'll be honest with you. I would like it to be 4-0. I'd be absolutely buzzing my tits off. But I think, personally, I think it might be a 2-0 win. A bit similar to last season. When I believe we beat them 2-0 Birmingham, that is. Obviously, he wasn't at the helm. But I just think, with the problems they've had as well, like financially and lack of transfer activity because of it, then I think his squad is doing. I think he's probably overachieving because he kept them up, which everyone wrote him off last season. So he's still a decent manager, regardless of how much we hate him. But at the end of the day, you know, I think we'll be too strong. Oh, fingers crossed. Anyway, we've shown us resolve in these big games, likes of Swansea and now Millwall. It's time now that we really put teams to the sword, especially the teams down the bottom, because we historically, for some reason, have always seemed to up our games against the top teams, apart from last season, of course. But we always seem to lose to the bottom sides as well. It always seems to happen. Well, in my opinion, I feel like it does. But yeah, so like I said, 2-0. We have actually got a message, which, if I remember, I'll put it on the screen. Mike has actually said it's going to be 3-1. So yeah, that's his prediction. Sorry, let us know what you think it's going to be in the comments below. As always, thank you very much, Matthew. I nearly can't. Well, I suppose you are Matthew, for joining us tonight. And if you'd like to go ahead and pimp your channel,
I race things. That's what I do.
Yeah, I race things.
Yeah,
Brum. It's all about the brum.
Yeah, basically just do a lot of racing content, sim racing, and so on and so forth. So if you're anyway into that, come check out my channel. Yeah,
and myself, of course, I have decided to make the bold decision of going from YouTube, apart from this series, of course, to Twitch. So yeah, if you're interested in the Football Manager activity or any other kind of games, just keep it out for when I'm on, and who knows, you might come and like having a bit of a chinwag or whatever, talk about Leeds or whatever in stream. But yeah, we're hopefully going to see a decent result for the Birmingham City game, and yeah, we'll be back for the review next week at some point. Until then, we'll see you then. Bye bye.